Alright guys, have to go back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The drama keeps on going between the CDL and the Warzone pros. Dashy comes out and says that some of these Warzone pubs have made these players rather delusional, but Shotzi ends up playing their best in Biffle and reckons that Biffle might actually be better than half the players in the CDL. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Not for off 85k. Love to see it. Let's dive straight into things. Of course, this is the classic clip from a year or so ago where Scott managed to win the World Series of Warzone, and this was used, understandably I suppose, as an argument why CDL players are just on a different level to Warzone guys. Now look, in fairness, the top guys in Warzone obviously can shoot straight. That's not a massive surprise, and we'll see that here in a couple of minutes time. And in fairness, the top earners in Warzone generally are, you know, the likes of Tommy, Rated, former CDL players, at least, well, I guess they were in the CDL technically, but, you know, Call of Duty professionals, went to Warzone and had great success over there. Now, look, in fairness, doing radar on 1v1s that they're currently doing, while very entertaining to watch, isn't necessarily, as Scum agrees, the best test of skill, who's actually the better player in general, because, I mean, look, we know these guys can shoot straight. Can they compete in a straight-up 4 versus 4 hardpoint setting? That's an interesting question that hopefully we might get some answers to relatively soon. But some of these guys are definitely good, right? And it does raise an interesting question as to whether if these guys were trying to, you know, if they were trying to make it as a professional COD player, and of course the entirely different skill set that takes, how long would it take them to transfer those skills over? Because some of these guys probably would have tried to make it as a COD pro if Warzone wasn't, first of all, easier and maybe more profitable for some of these guys to get into as like a young player that wants to make it as a Call of Duty player. Nowadays, Warzone's kind of the thing to do. So it would have been interesting to see how that would have gone. Now, Scum actually comes out and says, look, that World Series of Warzone 100k win is not a good argument for this Warzone CDL debate going on. It was hella difficult, he says, and I hadn't really played the game for 9 months because of the Cold War season, but that solo game had a lot of RNG involved. So he's saying, yes, you know, I did beat those guys, but it doesn't necessarily say that the CDL players are just hands down better than all the Warzone guys. Now, I mean, look, obviously he gives himself some credit here. People were wondering in the replies, like, which side are you actually on here, as Jacob says. Hang on a second, are you not better be supporting the CDL boys? And he does go on to say, he actually says, maybe I should go rogue a bit more. So we'll see if Scum starts to do that. But he says, yeah, ton of RNG. That's the thing. It was like a 1v1v1 with 100 players effectively, and the Battle Royale type thing down to the final guy. And of course, like, there were loads of RNG potential involved, but he did, you know, destroy most of the people he played. I think it was against Aiden in the 1v1. So I do think the majority of the Warzone guys would probably get smoked by the COD guys or by the CDL guys, but the top like 1%, the Biffles, the Aidens, these players, they can probably hang on a pure gun skill level, and we'll see that here in a second. Now this, just to mention before as we were discussing Scump actually, a little bit off topic, but I thought it was interesting. The Texas Rangers in about 3 weeks time on September the 20th are going to hold an Optic Gaming Night with a custom Greenwall mashup jersey, which looks like this for 1 per ticket, autograph session, and the first pitch is going to be thrown by Hex and Scum. So pretty cool stuff. This got a lot of traction, so I thought I'd just let you guys know if you guys are in the area and would look to attend. So pretty cool stuff, I thought. Congrats to everyone who got this partnership off the ground. It's cool stuff. So Bant is kind of going the other way around now and saying, okay, look at my 8-win streak. I think he says he even got to like an 11-win streak. So he's like, yeah, look, obviously it's really easy for us CDL guys to come to Warzone and have some success. It might not be quite the same deal the other way around. And then Doug chimed in with his arguments, saying that, you know, he actually reckons here in this video that Biffle and Scumman and these other couple of guys, like on the eye test, as in like when you watch them play, he reckons they have the potential skill. He was also raising the question as to whether these guys are a bit dodgy, right? Because certainly some of the Warzone players, there's all the cheating accusations that go around all the time as to these guys. I don't really think too much of that is valid, especially for these top names, but Doug was considering it. And I'll just share this clip here because he kind of compares a Biffle to Johnny, where he's kind of a bit concerned that, you know, okay, this Johnny kid was a monster online, but on LAN it's not the same deal. So Doug's eventually saying, okay, some of these Warzone guys, maybe they're just onliners for some reason or another.
Would I challenge Biffle? Dude, I would challenge Biffle, bro. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, these Warzone dudes, bro, any of these Warzone guys, I don't respect any of them as COD players, period. They're not COD players. They're VPN, bot farming, ATS. They just want to chase the bag and grow their following. I respect it, man.
What I will say, I do think that some of the Warzone dudes, if they grinded for a year or two, like actually grinded Respawn for a year or two, it would take them a year or two, could be decent at competitive COD. But to say that they would be a top competitive COD player is a stretch, bro. Like, a stretch, honestly. Like, people say Biffle a lot. I'll be honest with you, man. Like, I gotta see that kid play on LAN. Because some of the clips I see out of him are really sus, bro. I need to see Biffle, like Diaz Biffle, because what is he, 19, 20? He's young, 18 maybe. I need to watch him play on LAN, because he looks like an Ojani to me, bro. I see people like Johnny who do like Biffle does in Warzone, but in CDL, and then I play them on LAN and I turn on them every life and I laugh at them because they're horrible.
Now, I did just want to dive into this drama because Doug actually, asked me to give a little bit more context to this, so I think I'll do exactly that. So, obviously, he's going to throw some shots here at Johnny, and Johnny actually comes back and says, to this day, you can't keep my name out of your mouth, because they were teammates, and then things fell apart with the team, and then, of course, Johnny ends up joining Paris. Now, Doug actually had the chance to go to Paris, and he reckons that he actually said to Johnny, or said to the Paris team, that they should pick up Johnny instead of him when he declines the opportunity, and they, of course, ended up doing that, right? And, yeah, these guys don't get on particularly well, let's just say, especially because of the $550 that Doug loaned him, and then he never paid back for whatever reason. So Doug's tweets are still up here, and as you can tell, a lot of Johnny's tweets are now long disappeared, but you guys can kind of see what Doug had to say, and these are some of the tweets that now got deleted, right? So, yeah, talking about when they were on the same team, got the same placing at Toronto, this type of stuff, the KDs that these guys are putting up, and Johnny goes on to say, it's crazy you think I spit in your face because I didn't want a team with you, that shows how delusional you are, I don't want your respect, you can barely get other players' respect, ends up getting deleted, this one. And then as Johnny says, yeah, bro, I bet I got on Paris because Doug told them put me on the team. I was told why I got put on the team right when I got on, and it sure as hell wasn't because of you. So that's what, well, of course, Johnny had to say on the matter. Now, Doug reached out with some more context. He asked me to share it, so I thought I might as well. Doug says that Paris gave him the offer, which we've heard about from a couple of places now. He turned it down, wanting to stay on Boston Academy. Then Temp wanted to decide between two players. He said Johnny was the guy to go for. And then 50 of those $500 came from apparently like an eights match where he asked to chow for $50, lost, and then didn't pay up. And then Doug goes on to say here that he asked for $500 to gamble with. Maybe, I don't know if this is at the Minnesota event or wherever it was where there was a casino attached, but he reckons that he asked for $500, lost it, didn't pay up back to me. And I think even Johnny said at the time that he thought that was just like he was giving him the money or something. And then apparently Johnny asked Ghosty for $500 and paid him back on the spot. He's sketched a few times. And Doug, of course, has also called this guy out for, being on online compared to his LAN performances. So, I'm just going to leave it there. This is the additional context that Doug decided to give, but it's not the main topic of discussion for the day. Doug, of course, will be playing with Shawnee, Volant, and himself +1 going into next year. If Beans is the sub for Boston, I guess he'll be the fourth in this team. I suppose we'll see how that one goes. But I mean, yeah, of course, the CDL pros have been saying, okay, look, we can take these Warzone guys, no problem at all. Get together an all-star team and we'll give it a go. Yeah, Pred, Cell, Shotty, Dashy. I'm looking forward to really like a proper 4 versus 4 match between, 4 CDL guys versus the Warzone guys. Play, I don't know, respawn series, hardpoint session, destroy, whatever. See how well the Warzone guys can hang. And Azuma says, look, the best players are on the CDL, but there's certainly some Warzone guys that could make the switch. Aiden, Biffle, these guys, they don't cheat, so get a grip if you're saying that. Azuma says, maybe kind of responding towards Doug had to say a little bit earlier. But I mean, yeah, with that being said, we've got to run these 1v1s again, which is exactly what happens later on. So firstly, Methods and Shotty do a 1v1. I think this is a challenge here for 100 gifted. The loser out to, I suppose, gift 100 to the winner of this one. And Shotty, of course, you would expect him to take this rather easily. It was actually a pretty close fought affair. And that's the thing, to be honest, like, these 1v1s, they're fun to watch, but I don't really know how much skill they actually show, especially because you can just see where they spawn up, right? I mean, you can just see the radar kind of, I guess it's pulsing here. It's not fully on, which is definitely better than being fully on. But, I mean, yeah, Shotty was just finessing on the movement side. And you'd have thought Shotty would have been, like, pretty much undefeated in 1v1s, given the movement and stuff. But a lot of these Warzone guys are also rather good on the movement front. Zinni eventually goes down 0-2. Pretty close match, actually. 30-27 with the sub. 25-30, I guess, in Shotty's favour with the auto. And then, of course, they get Biffle on to try and, show what he's all about. Now, they go back here to Modern Warfare, right? Which, of course, could be rather similar to this upcoming game. And in fairness, this is the game that the Warzone guys pretty much play day in, day out, right? Of course, they don't play Modern Warfare, but they play Warzone, which is on the precise Modern Warfare engine with the movement feeling exactly how it does here. So it's pretty impressive in the first place. I thought the Biffle and the guys were coming over to Vanguard and giving a good run for the money to the pro players. But now this is kind of the game that the Warzone guys have been playing the last couple of years. So they play a 3v3 hardpoint right here. I'm guessing that Shotzi, Sib, and Asim came out on top here. Repulse was having a little bit of a difficult time, but Biffle was certainly shooting straight here on Method's team. And then they go on to play a 1 versus 1 between Shotzi and Biffle on, I think, is it Speedball, whatever this map is. A 1v1 here on this map. And I forget exactly what happened with Shotzi back in, when they did the All-Star thing back in Modern Warfare itself. I know this is sideways. I'll share the one properly for you guys here in a second, but I guess I'll just run the clip regardless. But yeah, back in Modern Warfare, they did the All-Star event, which is often 1v1s on this very map. And I don't know how well Shotzi did, but I'm imagining he did rather well back in the day. And Biffle takes him down 30-26 in favour of Biffle, and then 30-23. So this was no doubt impressive stuff. Shows this guy can move, he can shoot straight. He's definitely got the ability, and Shotzi has given him his credit.
All right. Calm down, Thor. All right. Whatever you want, man. Like a rat in a trap. Never mind. Good shot.
Yeah, bro.
Nice
You guys
shot,
are low-key,
nice
like,
Boy, neck and neck, bro.
y'all are cracked, bro. This is a beautiful 1v1. Beautiful.
Match
you know,
point, Ant.
DT, you know. DS to the Legion. DS.
One more.
DS Biffle to the Vegas Legion.
Over, Ant. It's not over. 4 straight.
Focus up, man. You got this.
Block out the noise. Confidence, yep.
No.
All right, that's one map. That's
These
map.
guys are
Fine.
packed.
That
Go
was
ahead.
turned. That was
Yeah,
turned.
you guys are both
guys
just
are
nasty.
So yeah, Shotzi goes down for the COD scene. A tough day once again. Ziddy was getting roasted. Now, of course, like, you know, that goes on to Shotzi. And yeah, Biffle officially best pro in the entire league. Now, and this I thought was quite the statement day from Shotzi, actually, because as DS Biffle says, holding it down for Warzone, better than half the league, Shotzi reckons. It's quite the statement, really, because I think the eye test says that Biffle can certainly shoot straight. He can move. Like, you know, he's not obviously a burger type player. Like, obviously, he's highly rated within the Warzone community as probably their best for a very good reason. And Shotzi reckons that, like, yeah, on raw ability, he might be better than, you know, 20, 25 players in the entire league, which is an interesting statement, right? So if Biffle was to try and make the move, how long do you guys think it would take? Because I do think he's got the ability to be a player in the CDL. Now, how long it takes him to transfer is a big question mark, because we always even talk in regular CDL play about players that maybe they've come from a search and destroy background. How long does it take them to learn respawn? It can be a good, you know, year or two before you really get to grips of how to play, right? Even Shotzi, for example, came over from Halo, and it took him some transitioning, especially in the respawn game mode, especially because like a lot of what he played before in kind of when he wasn't playing Halo was COD, but it was search and destroy chals. But maybe if a guy like Biffle committed to the switch to the CDL and, you know, really grinded it out for a year, went through the challenger scene, he could probably get to a point where teams would start considering his services. Then again, like for people like that, it's like, well, why would you even bother doing that? Because there's no money in the challenger side. He can make all his money in Warzone. And this is just the thing nowadays, that a lot of these top guys that might have become CDL pros if the scene was structured differently, but because Warzone is the way it is, these guys are, you know, Warzone pros now rather than pursuing the CDL route, right? So it's certainly interesting stuff, I think. And yeah, just to mention this also because it's relatively common knowledge these 1v1s don't really mean that much in terms of a test of pure Call of Duty skill. Yes, they show maybe gun skill and movement and stuff like this, and also understanding of the game mechanics and the way the map works and spawn trapping on certain maps and where the spawns are going to be. And these type of questions, like, it's a very specific skill set that doesn't necessarily translate so well into actually being a top Call of Duty pro, because, you know, by this logic, the whole King of Body versus Simp chals that went back in Cold War, you know, this King of Body goes on top of the world, but of course, Simp was the #1 in that game. And even Dashi giving a quite spicy take on this, right? Warzone pubs is getting people delusional, right? So that's the thing. He's reckoning that a lot of these guys, that yes, they can shoot straight and do well maybe in 1v1 chals, but the fact of the matter is, converting it over to CDL action in terms of actually playing against the pros in hardpoint, you know, well, hopefully not domination, right? Going into Modern Warfare 2, but to control, search and destroy, it's a very different kettle of fish. The communication required, also playing on LAN in front of a crowd, a very different environment. So I'm sure there's an awful lot for these guys to learn if they were to try and transition. And Dashi's maybe thinking, look, these guys are talking all this trash about, okay, they can shoot better than us. Okay, yeah, whatever. You might beat us in the occasional 1v1, but put us in a proper competitive environment, and we're going to be the ones that come out on top, right? So hopefully, with all these statements coming through, like Shotzi giving some credit, but Dashi's like, well, look, these guys are still kind of delusional to a certain degree based on just playing pubs, because, you know, effectively, if you play Warzone matches in public lobbies, you're basically the Mark of J, right, from back in the day. Well, Mark of J, what a YouTuber. But, I mean, yeah, like, you know, basically a player like that, he's absolutely destroyed in pubs, but if he comes to competitive play, it's not going to be so easy, right? So, I mean, yeah, maybe that's an incentive to see, hopefully, some 4v4s in action, which is what I would like to see, because that's like a more competitive environment. That tests your comms, that tests your ability to rotate, that tests your ability under pressure to a certain level, and even now Shotzi's gone down to Biffle. Now people are, like, well, okay, like we've got to call in the final boss in Selim, so maybe he'll hop on for one point or another and we can see a proper match. I think honestly for 1v1s in like Modern Warfare or something, like aBeZy's probably the guy to go for with the movement and everything. Like I think I'd like to see aBeZy versus Spiffle. That'd be good times. So like, I mean, yeah, look, you can't read that much into this, but at the end of the day, it's pretty entertaining stuff, and it's keeping the off-season alive and well for now. And even Shotzi, I thought this is pretty funny because he was talking to Attach here and he was basically just trolling Attach. Well, I don't think he really meant to instigate him. He like instigator's back in full force right here, but he's like, yeah, Attach. He was talking about how hot the stage was at the World Championship, and he was like, yeah, Dylan, I guess you didn't really get to experience that because you weren't even playing at the World Championship, right? So he wasn't so happy. But yeah, I just wanted to finish up with this video actually as well here from the new kind of TronzUltra documentary thing where we can see Bante kicks a ball straight inside his girlfriend's face. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. And I mean, yeah, like the reaction I thought was pretty fantastic. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you were new as always. Take care, and I'll see you next time.